Hi, I'm Steve Boyles, Ohio State University Beef Extension Specialist, and this presentation is about potatoes and field beans as a livestock feed. Some alternative feeds available to us, if others are limiting, are potatoes and things like pinto beans. If you're going to feed potatoes, you probably start with about 2 to 3 pounds, and you can increase about 2 to 3 pounds a day. Admittedly, moving too fast in putting in potatoes, you can have a laxative effect. You probably should have a roughage available, free choice if you're going to feed potatoes, but it can substitute for about half the grain in a finishing diet. Dried potato meal, about 20 to 25% of a finishing diet. Chopping can reduce the problem with choke, but they can be fed whole. Ideally, if you're going to feed potatoes whole to cattle, you feed from a low trough. Adapt the cattle, as I stated, gradually because it's mainly just a starch. Caution, if you have sprouts on the potatoes, they ideally would be knocked off, and I wouldn't try to feed a frozen potato to beef cattle. Potatoes can be ensiled. Now, potatoes are about 80% moisture. Therefore, you need to add 20 to 25 pounds of dry hay with each 100 pounds of potatoes, or think in terms of 1 ton of chopped silage with about 500 pounds of potatoes. Once again, frozen or sprouted potatoes should not be used for ensiling. Sprouts and green-colored sprouts are particularly toxic. Potato processing waste can also be used. It's excellent energy, 82% total digestible nutrient. Corn is about 88. There's very little protein in a potato, as you might realize. But they're only 20% dry matter, therefore it's a relatively wet product. 1/3 or more of the crude protein in potatoes is non-protein nitrogen. You also have to watch out for sulfur deficiency, so you may need to supplement some sulfur if you're feeding high levels of potatoes. The protein in dehydrated potatoes is not very digestible, but once again, we're really feeding potatoes as an energy source. There's little fat in a potato. You have to supplement some vitamins, certainly, when feeding relatively high levels of potatoes. There's very little fiber in potatoes, so always think about providing roughage when you're utilizing them. Navy kidney pinto beans can be fed to beef cattle. Relatively good energy source and protein. Maybe about 20% of the diet dry matter for cattle diets. If you feed relatively high levels, cattle may loosen up and scour. Raw beans cannot be fed to hogs. We don't have that same problem with cattle, but certainly be mindful if you're going to try to feed it to a monogastric like a hog. These beans should be ground if possible. Unlike cottonseed and soybeans, they're low in fat and high in fiber. If you'd like more information on some of these feeds, you can contact Ohio State University Extension and our OSU Beef Team website. Thank you.